Hello and welcome back to the Level Cap Podcast, your podcast for level 99 games things, derivatives of that, as well as things that may or may not be related to level 99 games, but are tangentially related to level 99 games, even if they're not.
Wait, tangentially related even if they're not. This is... I'm just gonna move past this and we'll go on to the actual podcast.
So that's the approved slogan. Okay, everybody.
I guess that's a pretty inclusive slogan. So I guess you can't go wrong.
Right. If inclusion is our our goal, then we've included everything. This podcast encompasses all. You want to talk to us about baking? Talk to us about baking. Just make sure it's tangentially related to board games. So it's a board game about baking.
You know, I've actually wondered what kind of foods they make in World of Indians. I wonder if... Anyway, maybe we should do a cookbook someday.
We should do an
Except I'm not very good at inventing recipes.
We will help you, Brad. Because it's like that World of Warcraft cookbook, right?
There's a World of Warcraft cookbook?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, now I gotta get in on this cookbook game.
Warcraft cookbook. Yeah, there's a PDF of it online.
Okay.
Official cookbook. It's official.
I see.
It's not even fan-made, Brad. And of course, you're welcoming us all back to this wonderful podcast. It's me, your host, Marco De Santos, also known as the Mechanics. And with me is my co-host, Brad Dalton
That's
Jr.
me. Nice to be here again.
Yeah. It's always nice to be here. And at the same time, I dislike the fact that whenever we introduce ourselves, there isn't that, funky guitar riff that plays whenever, a character from a sitcom comes on the screen. Like in Seinfeld. Right?
I always blamed you for that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Well, you can just put it in post, why don't you just do it again? Actually, here, I'll do it. And you add the funky guitar riffs in post, okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right. I'm your co-host, Brad Talton, together with my wonderful, amazing, and splendiferous main host, Marco De Santos.
Hey.
All right.
What's
keep
up?
the laugh track.
There you go. And
then, my goodness.
The guitar riffs are going to come.
Yeah. You'll see them in post. If you're listening to this right now, you've already heard the guitar riffs.
And if there aren't guitar riffs...
Or else Marco made a mistake.
Yeah, and if there aren't guitar riffs, it is my mistake and my fault. Future Marco is a jerk for not doing that.
Yeah, you wouldn't just leave us hanging, would you, Future Marco?
Yeah, Future Marco. Let's guilt trip Future Marco. Marco.
Let's do it one more time. Air guitar. Okay, there. Now you can add one over that too.
Yeah. Add one over that for no reason. All right.
You can imagine me doing an air guitar here at home.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be great. I'd love that as alt art for someone. Just Brad air guitaring.
Air guitaring. That's I don't know if that would impress anyone.
It impressed me, and I haven't even seen you do it. So
apparently they have world competitions, like world tournament air guitar. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know how that's judged, but it must be pretty spectacular if you can be the world air guitar champion. Because everybody does that, but how do you get good at it? Like there's things that you can see, and you could be like. Things that you see and you're like, oh, that's a skill. I could get good at that. And then there's things that you see and you're like, wait, people consider themselves good or bad at this? There's some kind of standard. How is that even possible?
Yeah.
I imagine a World Disc Duelers Championship would be a little bit like that.
Oh my gosh. So now what you just gave me you've incepted this idea of air guitar anime into my head. That plays out like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wow, like a shonen anime where they play air guitar?
Yes! And that's how all conflicts are resolved. Oh, my girlfriend! She went out with you! No, she's my girlfriend! Bring out your air guitar! And the main character's air guitar has a special spirit magic inside that makes his air guitar better than everybody else's air guitar.
He's possessed by the ghost of Jimi Hendrix who teaches him the secrets of the guitar, but only the air guitar? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Brad. I know this was a goof. I know this was a joke. There's actually a real manga where the main character is indeed possessed by the ghost of Jimi Hendrix, and then
Oh,
the
really?
ghost of Jimi Hendrix teaches them how to play guitar.
Oh, that's a thing. Okay, never mind. Well, what? Of course, it's anime. It's a thing. Why was I even
Oh my
thinking
god.
that?
What are we doing? What is this podcast? This
I
podcast
don't
is
know.
the best.
All right, let's get on. Let's get on to stuff. Let's get on
Let's
to
get on
the
to
real
stuff.
the real heart of the matter.
The real heart of the matter here is our Game Club game for this week. And our Game Club game for this week is... Can I say this? Can I say this time?
Heroes of the storm.
Oh.
Beat you to it.
Copyright Blizzard.
Hey, can you put an echo on that in post too?
Like, echo of you going like, Heroes of the Storm.
Storm. Like that, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
sounds
sure.
good.
I'll do that in post. Again, Future Marco,
Okay.
please do it. All right, there you go. Future Marco has done it. So, Brad, tell the audience that is listening what Heroes of the Storm is all about.
Well, Heroes of the Storm is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena. 2 teams of players, each with 5 characters, or each 5 members, choose a character and attempt to destroy the other team's main base before their main base gets destroyed. And to do this, you have to go down lanes, you have to take over towers, you have to defeat enemy heroes in single and multi-combat, and yeah, that's the basics. That's the very basic level of it.
Mm-hmm.
The heroes that you play have different roles. You know, there's tanks, there's assassins, there's supports, there's people that have all kinds of different weird abilities called specialists.
Yep.
And those are the ones, at least in Heroes. Heroes of the Storm is my first MOBA, but you may recognize
really?
more popular ones like League of Legends, Dota 2, those kind of games. Smite, Paragons, there's a bunch. They usually are like some type of hero name and then of some type of legendary thing.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
all kind of follow the League of Legends template. It's like
It
X
actually
of
starts
Y.
with, it starts with Dota though, because Dota stands
Yeah.
for Defense of the Ancients. So
Right.
so it's blank of the blank.
Right.
Mm.
So yeah, so it's a neat game. This is my first MOBA. I've sunk way too much time into this game to justify. But I do want to build a MOBA board game someday. Because I've been really impressed by what I've seen in Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of my talk is going to be based on my understanding of Heroes versus other MOBAs.
Yeah.
They do a really good job. They have a lot of cool stuff in the game, and they fix a lot of the problems with the genre.
Yeah.
I used to play Dota. I did play the original Dota when that came out, and so yeah, there are some issues with it that Heroes fixes really nicely.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of those issues. Differences with your regular MOBA and Heroes of the Storm. Because one of the best selling points of Heroes of the Storm is the objective-based gameplay, which is so different from all the other MOBAs out there. As a seasoned League of Legends player, I've been playing for 5 years at this point.
Of League.
Yeah, of League. Not Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm is like, I've been playing technically for 2 years, but like only really been playing the past month or two. I've played a lot of League, and the biggest problem in League, and especially in Dota, like all the problems in League are like the problems in Dota, but in Dota they're like magnified by 2,000 times. Yeah, so here's the thing. To people who don't understand, there's a role, a position called the carry. A carry is somebody who basically is bad in the early game, but they build up to basically be unstoppable in the late game. In Dota 1, a carry basically can 1v5 an entire enemy team once they're fed enough, once they've collected enough resources and items. In League of Legends, like a carry can maybe 2v4 at some point, but in Heroes of the Storm, it's not like that because of the way the entire game is structured.
The
one guy can't win
shared
the game.
level experience is
exactly.
a huge innovation, and that's that your entire team gains experience and levels up as one. So if I'm level 5, then every member of my team's level 5, and that way I can go and gain experience and not worry that I'm taking that experience away from another team member, or that I am not fulfilling my main objective to the team. Like if anybody is earning experience, then everybody's earning experience. And so it makes it much more important that you play all the lanes simultaneously, which means that you split the game up and have separate skirmishes rather than guys that are just going around, killing people and ganking. You have to keep presence in all of your lanes so that you're getting maximum experience. Otherwise, you fall behind the enemy team. And so there's always a tug of war when objectives spawn. So objectives, I think, are the main innovation of Heroes of the Storm.
Definitely.
Yeah, and in the classic MOBA, you charge forward, you push your lane up, you take down the enemy towers, and then you take down the enemy keeps, and then you take down the enemy core just by pushing forward your lane. If that sounds a little bit monotone to you, then it is, and you're right.
That's true.
Yeah, so Heroes of the Storm is kind of like the Smash Brothers of MOBAs in that it spawns these mini games called objectives. And each map has its own mini-games, and the mini-games will spawn, and then everybody has to run across the map and participate in this mini-game in order to get resources to push over the enemy towers, or to, create a boss that's going to help you fight, or to, basically to complete your main objective.
Yeah.
And these mini-game rewards are really powerful. But what the shared experience really does is that if you bring fewer people to the mini-game, and you and the rest of the other people are soaking a lane, then you're going to outpace the enemy team in experience. And so if you decide to give up objectives or to contest them just to draw out the fight without dying, or to or even to win with fewer people, then the rewards are really huge.
Yeah. That risk reward is what makes every game of Heroes of the Storm so interesting. Especially like if you have a hero on your team who can like super push, like a specialist. If you have a specialist on your team who can super push, like while everyone's gunning for the objective, you like destroy 7 towers. It's like
yeah, they'll take down a tower, and a tower is generally about what you get for winning an objective. So if your specialist is up pushing, they have to leave somebody behind to counter it, or else they're going to fall behind on pacing and experience. But then the rest of your team, is now 4v4, so it balances out. Those are the kind of choices you have to make, and I think one of the things that the game does really well is it makes divergent strategies interesting, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like there's reasons to do different things, and the coordination of your team and how you work together is ultimately what determines the right answer.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Also, while we're talking about these innovations, don't forget that they abstracted items out. Items in gold don't exist in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah. Well, let's explain what items traditionally are first.
Yeah, okay. So in a MOBA game, the way a typical MOBA game works is that you're killing these minions in the lane, and if you kill them, you gain gold. Or if you kill an enemy character, you gain even more gold. Usually like times 10 the value of one minion. So you usually spend those on items, and these items are basically like, think typical RPG items. They increase your statistics, they give you special effects, or they allow you to do something with your character in some way. So you get certain effects like, this gives you more attack damage, or this gives you more defense. But you can get crazy activated items like, activate this to heal yourself and your allies, or activate this to become invulnerable for 2 seconds, so on and so forth. So that's usually what determines how strong a character is that how many items they have. So like,
and one other thing about items is anybody can buy any item in these games, right? As long as you have certain prerequisites. And about 90% to 95% of these items are absolute trash for your character.
Definitely.
And so you have to start playing this game effectively, you have to know the entire item tree and know the build for your character. And these games typically have like 100 characters. So it's not, the barrier is super high to get into it.
Yeah. So what they have in Heroes of the Storm instead is the talent system, which in fact is basically like items but simplified, right? So
every 3 or 4 levels you get a talent, and the talents are custom made for your character.
Yep. And they do stuff like, increase your damage or give you unique activatable skills. But what makes the talents way more interesting than items is the fact that they're custom made for your hero, which means that they can modify your specific skills. Because in League of Legends, none of that happens. Like, your skill does A, it does A forever. But in Heroes of the Storm, you can have a skill that shoots and hits the enemy and stuns them, and then you can get a talent that makes it pierce, or you can get a talent that makes it scale with damage, or you get a talent that makes it deal more damage to non-hero enemies or something like that. So like your skills suddenly change the way they work, and it's awesome. It's my favorite part of the game. I love the talent tree.
It's a really great way to address that problem that was created. Well, the other thing that's important too is the talents are all scalar. So like when you get a talent at level 1, that talent will grow with you up to level 20. Like it'll continue. Like if it, like they're all, you do X% more damage with this effect, or you have X, like X% damage reduction, or you move X% faster. So they're all things that are going to be useful throughout your entire career. They don't become useless or become deprecated over time.
Yep.
Like items do.
Yeah, like items do. And at the end of the day, the mere fact that you can pick these talents organically through the game, and the fact that they're so diverse, even for just one character, means that being able to adapt to the current game situation becomes even more important. Because in League of Legends and Dota, like if you have an item build preset, you don't deviate from it. Like I'm not the gold platinum player or whatever, but like usually that's the case. Like, adapting quote unquote to your opponent's build is usually not as good as simply just sticking to your own guns and making your build better.
Yeah. Well, part of that's because you're committed with the low level items to your higher level items.
Yep, exactly. So all of that basically gets fixed by the talent system, and it's great. Brad, I love this game. I love it.
It's really well done. It's really well done. I mean, as you'd expect from Blizzard. I like the loot boxes less than I thought I would. They implemented the loot boxes from Overwatch finally. I think it's a pretty crappy monetization system.
Yeah, especially when the conversion rate's a bit expensive.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. I mean, it's like the game used to be pretty pure. You owned a character, you owned a costume. But now, like, you can just buy like every single thing in the game. Emotes and sprays and banners and all this stuff. Like, and it's kind of, what's the word? I don't know. It feels very Skinner box to me. I feel like instead of loot boxes, they should call them Skinner boxes, because
they're totally Skinner boxes, man. They
absolutely are, and it's I think it's a little insulting to the players, to both the Overwatch players and the Heroes players. If we wanted to buy blind packs, we'd just play Hearthstone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. But also, as somebody who just bought the character of the month, I used to play it as an LCG effectively, and like you spend $10, you get the character of the month. Woohoo, that's good. But now you don't get the character immediately, or you don't want to buy them because you might get them in a loot box. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's they turned this LCG that I've been playing into a CCG, and I did not appreciate that personally.
Yeah, I can understand how upsetting that must be.
I mean, I'm sure they're making a ton of money on it now because psychological conditioning and all that.
It's a Skinner box. Of course, it makes you money.
Yeah,
like the only reason you'd make a Skinner box is to make money.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's not something I really enjoy doing. Like, oh, great, I got a legendary. It's fine, but it's like it's all cosmetic anyway.
Yeah, they all are pretty. They're kind of junk. But anyway, remind me to not be evil in the future, Marco.
Yeah, I promise you will not turn into a Skinner box. Okay.
Well, just don't let me put too much stuff like that into our games.
Okay, I won't let you. But on the other hand, you remind me to put the air guitar riffs into the podcast. Is that a deal? Is that a deal?
Well, air guitar riffs just sound like this. Like, okay, you gotta put in real guitar riffs over the air guitar riffs.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so you say, remind me to put in the real guitar riffs.
Okay, remind me to put in the real guitar riffs.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Well, let's move on from Heroes. I recommend it to all of you, but don't spend too much money on loot boxes because it's a sham.
Yeah, and we both recommend it. And if you guys are at home, again, Brad reminds you: don't spend money on loot boxes.
Yeah, don't buy loot boxes. I mean, if you like, at least they still let you buy. They let you buy gems, which you can buy things directly with. But anyway,
Don't buy
loot boxes are
Don't buy loot boxes. So let's move on to our next segment, our character of the week. And our character of the week for this week is Brad. Can you pronounce her name properly, please?
Lissandra.
What's the last name?
Lissandra
Macon. Oh no.
Macon.
Oh no.
Is that different? What did you pronounce it as?
Mecan.
I'm sure it's fine.
No, we can't say that. No, we have to be authoritative here. This is like the rules. Like in a rule book, you can't just go like, "Oh, that's fine." Brad.
Well, I always say that's fine. Look, if I worried about how people pronounce the names of my characters, that's all I'd have time to do.
Well,
it would just be all day, every day. No, you're pronouncing that wrong. No, you're pronouncing that wrong.
Well, maybe we don't have that problem if you just record every single name and then we release it as a podcast.
Yeah, someday.
Someday.
But not today.
All right, so tell us about the background of Lissandra.
So Lissandra is a summoner. She has a familiar, Borneo. She is a what's the word? I guess how would you say it?
Student?
Research assistant. She's not really a student. She's kind of more like a graduate student at Argent. But most importantly, she is the ward of Vice Dean Byron Crane. So she is not only Byron's assistant, but she is kind of his adopted daughter, I guess. You might say.
Oh, okay.
So Lessandra was born in Gesselheim, right on top of the Well of Souls, like the gate to the Afterworld.
Okay.
Is effectively like right in her town. And she was always a gifted summoner and could kind of use this magic inherently. And one day she accidentally summoned something and it killed a bunch of people.
Oh no!
Because she couldn't control it. And so they tried her as a murderer. She was convicted. They tattooed that black star on her face to show that she was a convicted murderer, but they couldn't execute her because she was too young. And her parents, had to get rid of her. And at that point, Byron was in town, and he said, "I'll take her." And so he took Lissandra in and took her back to Argent and trained her how to control these powers. And that's kind of her whole backstory.
I see. So of course we all know Byron has some ulterior motive, right?
He's not the greatest guy. Yeah,
he's not the greatest guy.
Oh well, he does kind of collect talented people in Deans and train them. He was Hepzibah's tutor as well. And Rexen's tutor back in the day.
Oh,
so he
predates Rexen. Wow.
Oh yeah. He was around back in the Dragon Wars. I mean, he's old. He's really old.
Don't tell him though. He hates it when you do that. Does he? Does he hate it when you do that?
I think he's mostly upset that he's been around so long and still hasn't managed to take over the world.
Aw, man.
Like all these different schemes, like the elevation of Lord Rexen, the Dragon Wars, like all these things that he's involved in. He's like, the plan ends with, and then I take over the world. But it never plays out that way. Something else always happens. So he's mostly just frustrated, I think.
Curse you, bury the platypus! And then...
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. But that's Byron. We'll talk about him in his own episode.
Talk about him in his own episode. Let's talk about some more Lissandra things. So in the game, she has these 5 familiars, right? And her mechanic is that she essentially beats people up, uses their blood to summon her own familiars. Or if she can't afford other people's blood, she uses her own. These familiars can do a variety of things, from like giving her movement to giving her extra power to like making her faster or making opponents bleed out as she dances around them. Lissandra's a pretty interesting character. She feels
she's kind of got the whole toolbox.
Yeah, she's a toolbox character because she like summons the right familiar for the job. I think the really cool mechanic here is that when she summons them, she doesn't just keep them, like they're not just passives, right? Because she can choose to like purge, quote unquote, them to get like a more powerful version of their effect, and then they fizzle out. So
Yeah.
like the summons can do like this coup de grace move, and then Lissandra unsummons them. It's pretty interesting. What were the main influences to Lissandra's character design mechanically and visually?
Well, mainly I just wanted to create a summoner. You know, the mechanic that came to it, kind of came by necessity. Like, if you're gonna have all these familiars with all these great effects, there has to be some kind of cost to it. It has to not just be free to summon them, and so, we decided to use her life as that summon, or as that summon cost.
Mm-hmm.
Her main familiar, Borneo, is her actual familiar, the one that assists her with all the other summonings. And that comes out in his effect. The others are just various creatures, and various, I guess, to like say demons that come from the afterworld.
Okay.
To aid her. So Borneo is also a demon. But he's like
The most adorable one.
He's like, he's a baby basically, and so you get a contract with this this little creature that's gonna vastly outlive you, and you basically force it into servitude for your entire life, and then after you're gone, then it gets all your power and becomes stronger, and that's kind of how the summoners work in Indians. So effectively, once Lissandra gets old and dies, Borneo will grow up and become a full-fledged demon.
And he won't be cute anymore.
Yeah, well, until then, he's just Lissandra's, gopher.
He is a gopher.
Yeah.
I just imagine Lissandra going like, fetch me that coffee, get me that juice. And
pretty much, that kind of stuff. Like the menial chores you could imagine.
Oh my goodness. So that's how someone. Oh, and then when you're a powerful demon, so that basically means that Borneo could turn into something like the Raven Knight at some point.
Yeah, effectively. Like that's kind of the power level of a full-fledged demon.
Wow. But definitely nowhere near Malephase.
Well, they're a little different. They're daemons, which are different.
Wait.
Thing
So we have demons and daemons.
Daemons, yeah. They're spelled differently in the lore.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Yeah, sure. All right. So let's move.
Yeah, you can't become one of the seven sisters that way. Sorry. And well, we can talk about Borneo too. But Borneo is so Lissandra's kind of this very emo sort of character. A very like
she listened to Fall Out Boy and
yeah, she's that kind of person. Like very surface level, or very like I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, do anything. Life is terrible, et cetera, et cetera. And for all the stuff she's been through, you could imagine it. But Borneo kind of can feel her thoughts and her real emotions, and so they kind of have this weird dynamic where he reflects what she's really thinking or feeling, or when she can't. So they have a neat personality dynamic too.
So the window to Lissandra's soul is her penguin.
Basically, yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's adorable. I just imagine like Lissandra sees something cute and she's like, oh, cute things are gross. And then Borneo just loses it.
Well, yeah, like Borneo grabs it and like tries to pester her with it, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's cute. I'm so sorry. You just overloaded me with cuteness. And I won't go away from my head. And that pretty much does it for Character of the Week. Borneo, the most adorable thing that will eventually turn into a big demon. If you want us to talk about any other characters from any of our wonderful universes, we should have like a character brawler at some point. From any of our wonderful universes, please tell us in the comment section down below, and we'll be sure to get to that character as soon as we can. And now let's move on to our next segment, our 99 questions, which are almost at 99 questions at this point, and I'm so sorry that we're gonna have to reboot the franchise after that. So
yep, it'll be level 199 games.
Level 199 games.
That'll keep us going a little bit longer, at least.
Yeah, like an episode or 3. All right, let's ask some questions which may or may not be related to level 99 games. Oh, here's an interesting one. If level 99 is the level cap, what level would you say you are at currently?
Um, hmm. I mean, I assume we're already level 99 because we already published games under that name. But there's always room for improvement. The important thing is, just repeat to yourself. It's just a name. You should really just relax. That's the MST3K takeaway.
Okay, it's just a name. Take a deep breath and relax.
I don't know. It's not justified anywhere.
I see. Well, I'd say I'm level 5. There you go. There's your answer. Why? I will not explain.
You gain a level every time a podcast comes out, Marco. So you're level
20?
Like 20, 22, 23 now.
Yeah. Hey, that's not bad. Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, Brad, what's my ultimate? Okay, let's move on. How about this one? What non-level 99 game do you admire, and for what reasons?
Well, let's see. I mean, I've talked a little bit about the games that I recommend for a game night. Games I admire, right?
Yeah.
Like specifically games, not people or designers or.
No, because if we're talking about designers, you've already talked about your favorite designer, so.
Okay. Well, yeah. As far as like games I admire, I'd say that I really admire the like the old Fantasy Flight games, like Arkham Horror and Twilight Imperium, and like the Warcraft board game, and like they made some really impressive stuff back in the day, and they like people don't make games like that very much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But those games really kind of showed me that you can create a whole world inside of a box in a way that
And I see you've taken from that because you've literally given us a wonderful world of Indians wrapped tightly in our box.
But yeah, I was very inspired by the big box Fantasy Flight games it's like to do what I do with the world building, with the characters, and with especially with Seventh Cross, which we're working on now. We're trying to make our own big box adventure game that kind of follows that tradition. All right,
that's awesome. I guess for me, if it comes to games I admire, so this is gonna be weird because it's not like when somebody asks like what art do you admire, they usually go like old masters like Picasso, whatever. I'm picking something weird. There's a new game out on the App Store called Card Thief.
Uh-huh.
And it's a wonderful, wonderful like stealth solitaire game, and I'll have to check it out. It captivated my heart because I've like for the past month or so, I've been making my own stealth board game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Card Thief came out, and I'm like, this is just a better version of what I was planning to do, and I was like, dang it!
Yeah, I know how that goes. I know how that feels.
Yeah, so I admire this game so much. It's wonderful. Shameless. It's not a shameless plug, but like if you get the chance, play it. It's simple. It's fun. It's great. And now let's move on to our last question, which is: have you ever LARPed?
Have I ever LARPed? I have done like combat LARP, like fighting with big foam swords.
That's awesome.
I've never done like actual like role play style where you go on an adventure and there's a GM and and stuff happens out in the woods. Like I've never done one of those. I don't know that I have a lot of interest to either. I feel like the live action may be a little too limiting. Because I tend to like high fantasy, high action settings. And so,
see, Brad,
it wouldn't do for much if
this
if I had to throw a beanbag at somebody.
This is a problem with this isn't a problem. You just have to become a wizard, Brad.
Yeah.
Come on.
But even then, like that's what I mean. Like I would rather roll 10d6 than throw a beanbag at somebody and say boom fireball.
No, you're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying become a real wizard.
Oh well, that's a little tougher. I don't have any connections to that world, so there you go.
I know a few people. They'll send an owl to you in a few weeks.
Yeah, you don't think I'm too old for Hogwarts?
Brad, here's the thing. No one's too old for Hogwarts. Some people are just too human or too muggle.
I see.
Are we allowed to say
Too muggle.
that word on this
That
pod?
might be a racial slur.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Non-wizarding people.
Anyway,
all right.
let's
And that pretty much-
let's yeah.
I'm pretty much done with this level 99 games. 99 questions segment. We're reaching there. And finally, let's go to our News 99, where we will deliver to you hot baked news from Brad's brain.
Yeah. So the news for today. What is the news for today? Well, Taron Encounters is the big news of the day. If you've checked out our blog this week, you would have seen Chris's first designer diary for this game. This is a drafting, card battle, party building game that is designed by Chris Solis. And we will be publishing it probably a little bit later on this year. And it's pretty cool. I've really enjoyed the development of this game, and Chris is a fun designer to work with. He's always willing to adjust the game, to take new ideas, to take a step back in order to make things better. I'd say that makes really a person who is willing to design the same way I design, by cutting ruthlessly things out of your game, and questioning all the things that you think are okay. So anyway, I recommend reading it, seeing what you think of it. Taron Encounters is going to be on Kickstarter in about a month or two, so look out for that.
Are you telling me I have to give you more money, Brad? More of my money?
No, you don't have to. But when you see this, you may want to. That's all I'm saying.
So you're saying I have to, Brad? Gosh.
Well, anyway, but it's a really cool game. Like, you travel through, like, you're a time traveler and you're trying to kill this other time traveler, but because of the way that works, if you die, then you can just come back. Like, you can just reconstitute yourself in the timeline and come back again. So your time travelers are effectively immortal until the god of time judges you unworthy, and you accomplish that by playing basically by how would I say it? You kind of have to pin your opponent down. Like, you have to destroy all their stuff and then get them to a position where you can actually corner them and defeat them, and not just make an opportunity kill against their hero. I
see. That's interesting. So this is a PvP game.
It's PvP. It's 1v1. It's a drafting game. So you each turn you go to the time portal and you choose whether you want to bring back people from the past or present or future, and each of these different zones contains different kinds of people, so you kind of build your army as you go on the fly.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool. It's a very neat game. Like I said, I agreed to publish it, so I probably like it. You'll probably like it too. I think you'll probably like it too.
Okay, everyone, you heard that. You will love it. So, Brad, any other news?
In terms of other news, not too much out here. We are still waiting on updates for the shipment of BattleCon trials. So there was some kind of delay over there, and it hasn't been made especially clear to me because the printing representatives are in China right now. But I'm going to be following up on that and figure out what's going on. It may just be an extra 2 weeks before we get trials of Indians. Which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, Murphy's Law and all.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So that's a thing, and then still working every day on Seventh Cross. That's my main project right now.
And don't forget that Cameron's working on PTO and BCO every day.
Yes. So we should have, and Marco's posted some videos on those, which if you haven't checked them out yet, make sure you go check out BCO or Pixel Tactics Online videos on YouTube.
Yeah,
you can see kind of how the game's playing.
Yeah, we have a gameplay video wherein Cameron and I fight. It's great. So if you guys want to see more awesome stuff from Level 99 Games, don't forget to visit our blogs. And of course, if you want to give us any comments, questions, suggestions, want to give us characters of the week or Game Club game recommendations, always just tell us on our social medias or put it in the comment section down below. And that just pretty much does it for this Level Cap podcast. I hope all of you guys have enjoyed. As usual, it has been me, Marco dos Santos, also known as the Mechanic Critic, and with me is my very special, always here co-host,
Brad Salton. Yep.
And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See you next week. Happy gaming.